Hi, and welcome to the ArtCee show. I'm just kidding. That was our fake theme song
I
that
like
we have
it.
for it. Oh, thank you. Coming
Yeah,
from
I
a
think you
classical
should get
violinist.
one.
Anyway, I just want you to introduce yourself to our platform, to ArtCee. Please just tell us a little bit about yourself in regards to where you're at on your journey, because we like to meet people where they're at.
Sure.
Where are you at right now on your journey?
Well, my name's Scott Jackson. I play violin. I've been playing since I was a little kid, about 6. And I just moved back to Vegas about a year and a half ago, I guess now, for a show that was happening here. And normally I'm in classical music, but I'm kind of trying out, like, getting into different genres and sort of experimenting with being a little bit more creative in a way that I think classical musicians haven't really typically felt. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, I guess.
Wow, and that's so great because we're all about collaborating with all different kinds of creatives. So I hope that this opens a portal, like a new portal for you in
Oh
regards
yeah,
to
yeah.
meeting people and working with people and collaborating with people in
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
in our community.
I think it's much better that way. It just is well, I'm sure we'll get into it, but I think a lot of musicians sometimes get so stuck on what like the technical aspects of what we're doing that it's scary to venture out and take risks in like collaborative projects. So I think that's really neat that ArtCee is trying to facilitate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in the technical zone, like when you're practicing or the discipline to practice, what is that like? That practice for you?
Okay, well, for me, I have like a little bit of maybe ADHD, so I always have some noise going just to keep me like not too focused, I guess. No, not too like intense all the time, but it's just a lot of repetition. It's like kind of I think of it as very athletic based. For violin especially, you're working on so many aspects of coordination and just nailing the same motion over and over. Kind of like how like a gymnast, right? Like if you're gonna do balance beam or something, it's literally that, just on a string. It's like much smaller, finer movements, but if you miss by like a millimeter, you're out of tune or something doesn't work anymore. Yeah, so it's very intense in that way, and can feel a little overwhelming when like everybody around you is demanding perfection, and feeling like you have to be perfect, which is why I think again we get into our own heads with collaborating or taking risks, yeah,
Wow.
or performing live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you are playing and you're in your zone and say it's at one of the best symphony halls ever, what does that feel like when you're playing?
It feels for me a little bit magical. I've had some really like fortunate experiences to play with some really great groups, and really really amazing music that I think is just like sort of explores like what humanity is in all its sort of different ways. And then when you can do that with people who are all on the same page, there's like this sort of energy that gets created that is sort of intoxicating. It's kind of addicting to feel that, and it's frustrating because it doesn't happen all the time, and like sort of the economics of the business also kind of have been demanding a change in like what's acceptable or what's doable really financially. So, but when it does happen, it feels like you're making a statement. It feels like this matters, I guess. Which is hard because I feel like a lot of times people think that art doesn't matter anymore, which is unfortunate. Yeah.
Well, let's dig into that. Okay, so art doesn't matter as much anymore. What do you mean by that?
Well, because everybody's so fascinated by like STEM and science and math, engineering, all things I love, and those fields pay just so well compared to the risk that is getting into the arts, right? The arts are super competitive. The top does really well, and like
Yeah.
the middle, the upper middle and the bottom like really struggle sometimes to pay rent.
Yes.
And so I think there's this feeling from people like parents, like, oh, I don't want my kid to go into the arts, or it's not as, we associate like the economics with the importance. It's like they're linked, but I don't necessarily think they really are. And you need, like, I do think humanity needs art. Like it brings people
Yes.
together in a way that like other things can't. Like they really what's like, you need both. It's a symbiosis of expression. Like you need math and science, and you need art. So I hope people can remember that. Otherwise. Otherwise, it sounds a little maybe crazy, but I think we're doomed if we forget that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The symbiosis of art and science. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful to me, that explanation.
Well, it's just. I mean, you can be into both, right? And a lot of people are. I think like I have a lot of friends who are, worked for Fang, and they get to like mid-career and they're like, what is the purpose of all of this? Like, what am I doing? And they all kind of go off and try to be creative. It's a lot harder to start, like, when you're in your 30s than when you're as a kid.
Yeah.
And like, who wouldn't want the tools to like express yourself, right? Like that's great, right? I mean, we should all be so lucky. But you only get that if you value it, from birth, unfortunately, a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that from like going back to your birth. I saw on your Instagram there's you wrote about how your dad taught his mom or something. It was one of the posts. And did your dad, is it in your blood? Like does your dad teach music, or is it? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
So I came from a very musical family. My mom was a violinist and my dad was a horn player. And they met at music school, of course, and they eventually ended up in Las Vegas, sort of doing all the shows here, like Wayne Newton and Sammy Ray, like all these sort of these older, back when the Strip had like an orchestra in every casino.
Wow, had an orchestra at every casino. That must have been such a great era.
It was different. It was very different, and I remember, I don't remember this, but as a kid, like there was a big musicians union strike here, and apparently I was on the picket line with a sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was always been there. And this is actually my mom's violin, and it's really hard for parents to teach kids. So I didn't study with my parents, but obviously, like I chose the violin, I think, because of my mom. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so great. Do you sometimes like dedicate performances to her in your head, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Almost everyone. Kind of.
So beautiful.
It sounds like, I don't know. I always think of her whenever I'm like taking an audition or playing a piece. She passed away like, a while ago now, but in my head, I'm like, oh, she's kind of still here, like because of this instrument.
Yeah.
Which is, really, really sentimental. It's really nice. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So you just mentioned auditions. I guess as an actor, that's like my job, is audition to audition.
Yeah.
So for you, what is the audition process like in the classical music world?
It's intense. It's really crazy. So if you're going for like an orchestra job, like a symphony, right? They'll put out a list, and you send in a resume, of course, and they'll give you access to the list. And it's usually like between, let's say 10 and 30 excerpts, 30 being like rare.
Okay.
And the excerpts are usually about like only a minute long.
Okay.
Or less, sometimes a little longer. And they'll divide the auditions into rounds. So like you'll have prelims, and then you'll have semis, and then finals, and then sometimes super finals, super finals. And you can go in there and play for 3 minutes, and they can say next, or you never really know what's going to happen. And it can be really discouraging sometimes, just because you'll spend like 2 months on this audition. and you go in there and you play for 3 minutes and they say next, and that was it. You just spent $1,000 to like buy an airplane ticket and a hotel room, and you failed, you know. And it's like, what do you do with that, and how do you keep going? Yeah. So
how do you keep going?
Yeah.
How do you keep going? What keeps you driven in this industry?
I think it's just like a love for the art. Like I don't like failing, so I feel like the only real failure is to give up, you know. So I just keep going for it and just try. And sometimes you do really well, sometimes you don't, and it's kind of subjective a lot of the times.
You mean like from like the judge's point of view? Like, yeah, it's subjective. Yeah.
There are things that like you have to do well. Like you have to play in tune in classical. You have to have a good sound. You have to play with a good rhythm. If you can do those things, it sounds simple. Like you can move on, but in the moment, you know, when you're on the spot, the pressure gets hard. Yeah, it can be really tricky. Yeah.
Wow. Now, you had mentioned before we had begun this conversation, there was this preconceived notion of, is it of classical music or as of orchestras? What? Talk a little bit more about that. I was just curious about that subject.
I'm trying to remember what I said.
Yeah, I think it was because the way we present ourselves to the world.
Yeah.
I guess what would be one of my preconceived notions of like of orchestra or of classical musicians?
Sure. I feel that like classical musicians sort of act and are perceived as like a little bit snobby, especially like when you're coming from like a pop show, or it's kind of a real toxic environment at times in classical music. Like it's sort of bred out of this like being hypercritical of yourself and others, because you have to really be that intense to get better, right? Like you're analyzing things to such detail that it can be easy to forget that, like, you know, we're still people and like we don't have all the answers. And again, this is not a completely objective field. So there's like this violinist that a lot of people have heard of, like Lindsay Sterling. I don't know if you've heard of her. She did like dubstep violin when dubstep was really big. And a lot of classical musicians were kind of like making fun of her for this. Like they didn't really respect it. But I would just challenge people to be like, but can you write music? Like, can you do any of the stuff she's doing? Can you like move around? Can you entertain like her?
Yeah.
And almost always the answer is no. Like they can't. So I think it's really important to keep looking like to appreciate things like in other people that they're doing. Like you just can't become this I don't want to say like a bad word, but
what can you use in place of the bad word?
You know, it's important to not become rude towards other people. But it's so common. When I was younger, I would go to these music festivals, like Aspen, this huge festival, filled with just incredible musicians, and artists would come and play, and all these 15-year-olds would start talking, you know, saying bad things about this person on stage. You're like, oh, she sounds terrible. And it's like an award-winning violinist up there. And so like, what is happening where we're just teaching our kids to be like this ungrateful and sort of critical of other people, and not able to see the beauty that people are trying to contribute to a field, you know? And then we sort of breed in like our insecurity into like taking risks again, you know, and you get stuck. So I think it's changing because of the way media has changed. But I almost wish that I had like been born a little bit later to escape some of that.
Yeah.
But maybe it would even be worse now. I'm not sure.
That's a whole other debate.
Yeah.
There's a beauty in your uniqueness, like what Lindsay has brought to music. how would you, is there anything that you would say about you that is unique that you bring to your craft?
Oh man. I don't know. I think I have like a unique set of attributes, but it's not always easy for me to like figure out what it is. I think that what I do like is I really love classical and I really appreciate pop. And so I try to like fuse those two things together, like an attention to detail in pop that sometimes people just throw away. Like, oh, it's a pop gig, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier than what I'm used to playing. And I really hate this kind of attitude. Like, I think you have to be serious and you need to find the music or the art in things.
Yeah.
You need to, well, for instance, right, I was doing Adele, I was playing a show.
Okay.
And for everybody, right, it's like the same show every night. So you have a couple of choices. You can either get really bored or you can find things to focus on to make it work, like to make it special every single time. So I think what I'm good at is making it special every single time.
Making it special for yourself every time.
Yeah, because I think, like I deserve that and the audience deserves that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better that way. It's better for everybody.
Yeah. And what makes you unique too is that you're a multi-hyphenate. What's another profession that you've been working in?
Yeah. Okay. So I do a lot of photography. It started off as when I was a kid, and I found a camera that was like tucked away in a bookcase from my dad, an old Pentax, and I would just go in there and like take it apart and like move every single knob and dial and lever.
Wow.
And I loved it. I loved it so much. And out of that kind of grew this like fascination with just taking pictures of usually musicians, and it's kind of grown. It's never been something that like I wanted to be my only job, but like another creative outlet for me.
Oh yeah.
So these days I think of like photography as just telling a story. I'm trying to like capture a story.
Yes.
Which, yeah, for anybody who's into photography, always capture like a story. Tell a story if you can, rather than just take a picture.
Yeah.
Because it'll be way better. Yeah.
So so are you offering any services for people like in regards to photography, or are you just doing it for your own artist creativity? Like, just so we know.
I do portraits and headshots.
Great. Okay. That's good. Yeah, it's good to know. So you like to take portraits and headshots of people and
yeah, definitely.
That's great.
So like if you have something coming up in an event or a concert.
Yeah.
Also, if you're a small arts organization or a small, like kind of a startup, I really do want to support like those communities. So like I offer sort of like a special rate just to make sure that like, I think it's really important to have things that look like professional, that really represent like what you're doing, right? I mean, because people are doing amazing work. And then I think there's this idea that, I can just do this on my phone. Like I'll just take a few snapshots here, you know?
Yeah.
But it makes such a better statement if you can have something that shows like the true essence of what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, usually like a phone or just a snapshot doesn't capture all that a lot of the time.
Yeah. So for those who are just listening in or watching us, please just hop on to artsee.co because it gives us a chance to feature you and the services you offer, along with finding ways to collaborate with you, which I think is so great that you have your portfolio up there to be able to really highlight who it is you are, not only as a classical violinist, but as a photographer as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. So definitely, for anyone who's listening or watching, definitely visit that so you can see how you can get in touch here with our lovely guest. I want to dive into just a little bit about what challenges you may be facing as an artist and a creative in our time era now. I'm just curious. Is there anything that you find challenging for yourself?
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things, especially about being a classical musician, is I think for like decades people have been saying, oh, you know, classical music is dying, which it's definitely changing. I think it's like hard to figure out your place, like when everything is just so commodified.
Yeah.
And like in a town like Vegas, especially, you know, the Strip sort of consumes everything.
Everything.
And there's a lot of talent on the Strip, a lot of amazing people, but at the same time, it's like it seems to sort of suck the life out of everywhere else in Vegas sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like how do you stand out here? How do you compete with the Strip?
Yeah.
You know, and it's I've been living in so many places by now, and Vegas is very unique in this sort of feeling that like it's hard to do your own thing here. Yeah, I'm trying to think about like other challenges.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Have you had any a memorable moment that you let's say that had a significant impact on your journey? And like, what did you learn from that experience? Just thinking back on your journey.
Yeah, I so usually when you're like on this classical path, it's sort of natural or you like students always go to these music festivals to study, right? So for me, one of my favorite parts about music is that it's taken me all over the world, and like one of these trips I've got to go on was to Japan. You know, I got to go to Japan twice, so I've spent about 11 weeks in Japan.
Wow.
Playing with an orchestra there, and it was just an incredible experience because it was my first real exposure to sort of kind of living outside of the States, having friends like from somewhere else. Everybody was so friendly that like we all connected, even if we couldn't talk to each other. And it was just such an amazing feeling. That's why I said earlier that like I think arts have the potential to like kind of save the world. Like if we can,
I love that.
If we can really come together, and I know it sounds cliche, but it has a potential to bring people together, like literally from all over the world, you know, focused in Sapporo, Japan, playing and drinking and going out together, and, you know, coming back to a concert hall and just playing music, and then having the audience just clap and really appreciate it. It's really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So we're going to round this off. I wanted to let you talk about any upcoming projects, or are there any dream projects that you have that you want to become a part of?
Yeah, I would really like to find more opportunities to collaborate with people, especially like outside of classical, even like mixed media type things. I know I'm trying to sort of adventure into more like composition and writing on my own too.
Oh,
like
great.
just to explore
the
creative process a little bit more, because like one thing as a classical musician is we're given music to play, but it's so rare that we're creating music. And as we've gone on, like the tools for just playing back stuff have gotten so good that there's more value now than ever before in like actually being able to create new things rather than just playing them back well. So, you know, you have to stay on top of this stuff as an artist, otherwise you'll get left behind.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm kind of playing around with that, and hopefully I'll have some stuff out soon on my Instagram.
Oh, great.
And going forward, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see where this journey takes you, being back in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, me too.
So we're gonna end it with a fun question. We want to ask all our guests, and this I want to make this a point. You are our official first like video / podcast / like everything. We're so proud to have you as our first official guest, because I don't think people get to learn the lives of classical musicians very much, because as you had said, that preconceived notion, I guess I could look at it like, it just seems like they're so into their discipline, that they don't have like maybe the time to meet people like us and everything. So it's just great to meet someone so personable and just so fun to have a conversation with. So thank you for that. But before we ask our final question, is there anything that is on your mind that you want to share with our audience and with our ArtCee community before we take off? Any final thoughts?
I had one, but it's gone. Oh no.
Oh no.
Come back.
We have time. We could take a moment. We could just cut. And then if you want to take
it might be gone forever, but it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm just thankful to, be here and get to talk to people, and it is fun. We, like classical musicians are in a little bubble, so it's really exciting to adventure outside of that and kind of, like meet new personalities and new creatives and like there's so many amazing people in the world that I'm just thankful to be asked. So yeah.
Good. Well, we're very excited to have you and to just feature you on our platform.
Thanks.
So this is the question. So when you walk into a party, okay, or the soundtrack of your own movie or your own musical, what is like your opening song? Like, is it either a song that already exists or is it a new song that you have a title for? What would it be?
Oh, this has changed like every year of my life. So
okay, cool.
Currently I'm on this huge like EDM kick that I just can't stop. So I feel the soundtrack for my life right now has got to be just an Arm & Hammer DJ set, which nobody's going to know.
Okay.
But it has changed my life and it makes me feel so good that I wish everybody could sort of experience, that kind of feeling. But other than that, I would probably say really sentimental stuff like Misty, if you know Misty.
Oh, I don't know Misty.
It's like a jazz standard.
Okay.
There's a really good singer. Her name's Sarah Vaughan.
Okay.
And she sings Misty, and it is just one of the most incredible things.
Sarah Vaughan, Misty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely check it out. But just like soulful and a little melancholy.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite. Not like depressed, but
melancholy,
sentimental.
Like,
yeah, sentimental.
Wow. And we can find you. So the photography is public. Is that a public?
Yeah.
It's a public Instagram.
Scott Jackson Photography.
Scott Jackson
and
Photography.
You can follow my Scott Jackson Violin too.
Oh, good.
Just send a friend request.
Yeah. Great. So we know how to connect with you. Thank you so much for everyone who is watching. Thanks for making it into our lovely connection that we made just today. And for anyone who's listening, thank you. Make sure you visit artsee.co for all the latest information about artists and ways that you can connect with your community and create projects that are totally worth exploring.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.